It never fails to amuse me when someone accuses me of being anti-government, as if that's somehow a badge of shame I should wear like a leprosy, or as if I've been trying to keep some great secret, but by a wild and clever act of cunning on their part, they've tripped me up and caught me out, exposed me. Of course, I'm anti government, as every rational person on the planet is, or at any rate should be. And why do I say so? Because government is force. It is the body politic that has the legal control over a specified geographic region with the full and legal sanction and authority to exert force. Because government, as Thomas Paine said, is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Government is like fire, a dangerous servant and a dreadful master. In its best state, a necessary evil; in its worst state, an intolerable one. Government alone possesses the legal power to crush out the freedom of each, the freedom, let us never forget, with which each individual is born and which each individual human requires in order to prosper, to flourish, to bloom and flower. And that, in short, is why I'm anti-government, because in all but its best state, insofar as government is anti-individual rights, government is anti-you and anti-me. Do you doubt it? Then I invite you to think clear back to, God, what's it been? At least 3 weeks ago now, I believe, when we were shown the sophisticated computer modeling that told how millions were about to die unless we annihilated the world's economy and life as we know it, or I should say knew it. Yet now, all these 21 days later, we're told that of course the sophisticated models were wrong. Everybody knows that models are always wrong and not meant for anything but the most general of approximations, and how could anyone have taken that seriously anyway? The important thing, of course, was to horrify absolutely senseless the preponderance of people, so that these people would not just give up their freedoms, but give them up enthusiastically, practically falling all over one another fast enough to give them up at all costs to the omniscient state. Consider also that in 1 month's time, government has successfully strangulated the entire world economy. In less than 1 month, over 17 million Americans have lost their jobs, and of the 30 million small businesses that existed in America alone, millions of these have been blasted into smithereens. In less than a month, domestic abuse rates and suicide rates have risen right alongside snitch culture, with government apps and websites set up for the sole purpose of tattling on your neighbors for any arbitrary reason you want, provided you deem your neighbor to be in some way non-compliant with one of the fatuous governmental mandates hammered down into place overnight. And there is already talk of people needing to carry papers, so-called immunity papers, which would show whether you're immune to COVID-19, while governors, county commissioners, and mayors alike are all licking their jowly chops over these newly granted powers with which they've been enthusiastically endowed, threatening and in some cases breaking up private gatherings, imposing steep fines upon people walking alone or driving alone, people who were committing the unthinkable crime of wanting to get out of the house. In an era of the most pressing of first world problems, like your favorite social media platform changing its terms of service, or not enough vegan options or gluten-free options at your local restaurants, or not enough BDSM dungeons in your city, an era of safe spaces and snowflakes and emotional support for animals, an era, in short, when coddling has become a billion-dollar industry, and there are daily howls for the right to demand others use the correct pronoun. One wonders in such an era why these millions are suddenly so silent. Why are these millions defending Donald Trump of all people and his clownish administration's unequivocal authoritarianism? And why so much rage at people like me for defending your and my absolute and inalienable sanctity as individuals, individuals who possess rights that are inviolate? Let us recall that it was only recently that many thousands of individuals descended upon Washington, D.C. at their own expense to protest the appointment of a Supreme Court justice, Yet today, these same many thousands while away their days, alone in apartments, unpaid, forced into idleness and descending into impoverishment, not only uncomplainingly, but with complete compliance, all the while receiving full reinforcement and total justification by the thousands of daily articles from mainstream outlets explaining to us all why the government is right to exert authoritarianism, because voluntary consensual action must be forbidden in this time of sickness, and you should be so bloody scared that you can imagine no other way. That it took only the suggestion of the possibility of sickness with an approximately estimated 1% lethality to render a nation once characterized by individual autonomy, freedom, innovation, creativity, industriousness, and industry into housebound conformists. It completely confirms what some non-conforming commentators have suggested, that this is the most mind-spinning consolidation in the shortest span of time of millions willingly acquiescing individual liberty to full power that you will ever see played out in real time. And I agree. Yes, if there's one thing above all to observe about this entire experience, let it be this. Observe how rapidly, how compliantly people were willing to give up their freedoms without so much as a peep, let alone a fight. Observe how the panic and fear-mongering alone, in the absence of hard, precise, proven data, was enough to bring billions to their knees. It is one thing to be beaten by a faster, stronger opponent. To be beaten by such stupid, lumbering propaganda is unthinkable. Voluntary action, individual rights, and freedom are and always will be timeless.